Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. As you guys know, I like to bring, wherever we have Netroots, some of our local politicians, but the ones that are going places. And how do you know they're going places? Well, you're going to hear right now. Today we have Delegate Adrian Boafo.
Got it.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. And Adrian, of course, in Texas, we call them state representatives. In Maryland, it's called delegates, but they serve the same purposes in the House. Welcome to Politics Done Right.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, you have a history. First of all, you are and please, I'm not going to get ageist here, but finding out your age, that you are a delegate before you were 30.
Yeah.
You were also a deputy or vice mayor before you were 25, I believe.
Uh-huh.
That is impressive.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Look, my parents are from Ghana, West Africa. And so within a generation, you've seen my family go from folks who left Ghana because democracy no longer existed there.
Right.
Came to America, this beacon of hope to the world. And in a generation, their son became the youngest vice mayor of the city of Bowie, which is the fourth largest city in Maryland, and state representative. And in the state legislature, I get to serve in a leadership role as well. And so it's been an amazing journey for myself. But it talks a lot about what Maryland means for immigrant families.
Well, I mean, the first thing that I can tell you is I am proud.
Thank you.
Just to see a young person achieve so much politically at such a young age, it is what we need, especially in a politic where the grown folks are acting like kids.
Yeah.
So it's great to see that we have those who have the wherewithal to do that. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So again, I spent my entire life in Bowie. I was born and raised here in Maryland, and grew up in Bowie, Maryland, which is again fifth largest city here in the state, within Prince George's County.
Right.
If you're not familiar with Prince George's, it is the most affluent African-American county in the entire country. I mean, think Wakanda, but in real life, right?
Really?
Black excellence on top of black excellence on top of black excellence. And so I grew up in that community.
Right.
I went to a really well-known high school called DeMatha, where we're known for a lot of sports, but I decided not to really take the sports route.
Right.
I found out that public policy and helping people is my passion. So I got my start actually here. It's good to be back in Baltimore City because this is the city that I got my start in politically.
Right.
I went to undergrad a few miles from where
Where'd you go?
sitting, the University of Baltimore.
Okay, gotcha.
Where I spent my 4 years there really trying to understand government and public policy, the importance of having leaders who are actually in the seats of power, but also the entire government system, right? It's not just us electeds, we have staff members and folks who are working with us at every single level of government, really helping us. And that's what I thought I was going to do. I did not think I was going to run.
You thought you were going to work in somebody's office. I thought I was going to work
in someone's office, and I did. I left as SGA president. I was the first African-American SGA president at the University of Baltimore. And think about this was in 2016 at the height of the Freddie Gray movement. Right. So Black Lives Matter movement was really emerging throughout the country. And it was a great time, but I still thought, maybe running isn't for me. Seems like a really stressful thing as SGA president. So I went to go work on Capitol Hill, and I worked for a few members there.
Who did you work for?
I started off with Javier Becerra. He was at the time the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus, and now HHS secretary in the Biden administration. And then I worked for a guy from Nevada's 4th Congressional District, Reuben Key, when he was the first dreamer to ever serve in the United States Congress. And then I ended my career in the Congress with Steny Hoyer, Maryland's great legend, the majority leader, Steny Hoyer. And that's where I really got the bug and inspiration to run.
Did he encourage you at all, or?
He's been one of my biggest champions and supporters through this entire journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you ran your election. Did you have competition, or?
Yeah, every election I've run has not been easy, I'll tell you that. I ran in 2019.
Right.
I came back home from college. And I was living at home, and I said, well, look, I think this city needs some new energy. And this was in 2019, so think about what happens the year after I win my election. But I ran in a race against 5 people.
Wow.
Nobody supported me. I think it's one state representative and Steny Hoyer were the only people who supported my campaign. But we just knocked doors, and we talked to folks about what a new generation of leadership really would mean for our city. And how we were focused on that. And I won. I won by 75 votes.
75 votes.
75 votes in that first election. And I'll tell you, Bowie is a very immigrant-friendly city. It's why my parents went to move there. It's why a lot of my aunt and my cousins and uncles all live in the city of Bowie. But how I knew we were on the right track is the night of the election. It's about 7:45. Polls close at 8 o'clock. There's a line around the building. And we're like, either this line is for us or it's not.
Right.
So we're either going to win or lose. And we walk out and it's all these African immigrant, almost stereotypical. Aunts, the aunties sitting outside.
Yes, and they were there for you.
They were there for me.
They were there for you.
We won that election. And then I ran. So then the pandemic happens. I become the vice mayor of this city at 25. And you can imagine what you were doing at 25 years old. It wasn't being a vice mayor at all during the COVID pandemic.
Right.
And it really changed my perspective on things and how I viewed policy and the need for progressive policy to really be at the center of all things. And so when this seat became open, I ran for the seat. I ran in a 10-way primary.
Oh.
Yeah, I got in a week before the filing deadline.
Right.
We were, again, 2 years of COVID, making sure our city was doing well. I thought I was out of politics. I was like, well, this was great. I got to be the vice mayor for my hometown. I got to shepherd us through this pandemic. I'm going to go take a nap and go take a vacation.
Right.
But I had this urge to continue to do this work and do it at a higher level.
Right.
So I ran for state office. That one was more decisive than 75 votes.
I can imagine it would be, yeah.
That one was a little bit more decisive, but still a very competitive election, and I've been blessed.
Now, and I imagine you had in the Republican part, you had a competitor, but it's probably a Democratic county.
I don't even think we had a Republican for the House seat.
You didn't?
We did for the state Senate seat that cycle in 2022.
Right.
Not a Republican.
Not for the House seat,
it's an extraordinarily Democratic seat.
So what is your platform? What is it that what you most want to do?
It's economic justice. Economic justice. For the first time in the country's history, young folks, previous generation, this current generation is doing worse than their parents.
Right.
Folks can't afford housing. Folks aren't earning a fair living wage. Folks are going in debt for a whole host of reasons. And we've got to really figure out a way here in Maryland to really be the leader on trying to make sure that wages and folks can be champions for each other.
Exactly.
And so that's what I'm really focused on, economic justice, making sure that we have a one fair wage for all of our workers here in the state. Right? Making sure that folks aren't continuously displaced in the workplace. And how do we make sure that folks are able to get housing? Right? How do we make sure that folks actually have that investment that can take them to the middle class? In Maryland, the middle class is shrinking. And that's because of just the inequities that exist. And how can we as government try to make sure that that middle class expands?
Well, let me just put it this way. With people who that work is central to their being, that is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
It has to be intentional. It's not something that's going to happen. It's not happenstance. It has to be intentional. And knowing that we have young people like you coming up, I think the old folks that are themselves suffering because of the inequities, and it is actually the policy inequities.
Yes.
I am pretty sure that having folks like you will get that down. Give me a closer. What would you like to say that I probably didn't ask you about?
I don't think there's anything in particular. This is what I will say, and I've been saying this all through this entire Netroots weekend. There's nothing wrong with America that can't be fixed by what's right in America. My family story is a story of what's right in America.
Exactly.
I'm a kid of immigrant parents who came here because democracy no longer existed and America was a place of opportunity. And if we are central to ourselves and we believe in this place called America, we can ensure that all the policy objectives we want to achieve can come true. And so we've really just got to center back. I know there's a lot of stuff going on throughout the country these days, but we've really got to figure out how we, ourselves, can start believing in this place called America again and really redefining what America means for those people individually. And for me, it's the place where opportunity exists. It's a place where we can ensure that young people have housing. It's a place we can ensure that the climate change crisis no longer affects folks. It's a place where we can make sure that people are actually getting a fair wage. It's a place where healthcare can actually be a reality for folks and a human right for folks. And so I truly believe in this place called America. I truly believe in the state that I get to serve. And I'm really confident after, especially being in this conference, that there's a lot of activists and a lot of folks out there who want to see America do better, and we will.
Adrian A Boafo. I have confidence Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics
I
Done Right.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.